Got to get it, Papa. Well, here I am, and in a place that I don't want to be a permanent resident of for a long time, if I'm a resident here at all. I'm just visiting, and the reason I'm just visiting is because this is the gigantic Metairie Cemetery, right on the edge of New Orleans, however you say it. Depends on who you are. New Orleans. That's kind of how I say it. I just said it so that you know. But I'm here to show y'all what a big cemetery can look like. Oh, and look those. While being respectful, I know. No, it's just to show the scenery in a way of typical, this is kind of atypical. This is big time stuff here. There's a lot of cemeteries around New Orleans that are the old ancient ones, and they're jam-packed and they're all ancient, and you have to pay money to get in and see. This one you don't have to pay money to get in to see. If you want to stay here though, then you're gonna have to come up with something for your accommodations. So without any further ado, look around, look at that. Yes, this is a pretty big cemetery over here, and this is just one row over here. And you can see, here's my hand for scale. You can see how big the tombs are. And a lot of these big tombs, they're not like your typical cemetery where there's a grave marker and that's it on the ground. These usually have families interred in them over a long period of time. So they'll have a lot of family members in these. And like I said, these are pretty impressive. Yeah, I'll show you a couple of things. But this is one that's kind of modest, but it is quite impressive. And you can see even inside they have stained glass. They left a bottle of wine and it looks like a beer in there, but something that the people inside enjoyed. But the tombs are along the sides, they go up. This one has, it looks like six spaces inside, so there could be 6 family members in there when it's all said and done. This tomb right here is, to compare, this shows you how many people can be interred there. This is the Odenwald tomb, but there's 1, see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I think there's 14 if I counted right. 14 individuals in here, and all related, all the same family. And that is the old way of doing things. That's actually where the interstate comes into New Orleans. New Orleans itself, follow the giant finger, it's over that way where the Superdome and all that stuff is. So look that. But we're gonna see a few examples of different kinds of tombs and stuff, and you can think about it for your Halloween fun, if that's the kind of thing you think about. Yeah, I don't do a lot of videos about cemeteries and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it's not really the thing I do. But this cemetery is different because it's so huge and historical, and these the tombs here are works of art. It's really amazing, some of them. So we're gonna look around and see, and you'll see some of the different statues. I don't know what I'm pointing at. I saw the statues on top there. These are kind of small. There's one over there. There's one over there. Just wait till you see what I'm gonna show you. And I'm making a face like because it is amazing. Here's some of the amazing stuff right here. A lot of these are as big as regular houses, almost. Here we go. And see, it even has a historical marker on it. 1872 is when this was begun. Yeah, these are some of the bigger tombs along this little avenue. And example, we'll just take a look. They have some stained glass in this one. And if you can see it, there you go. Some beautiful stained glass work in some of these tombs. And you can see over toward that way that the giant finger's pointing. That's where I came from. That's the newer part of the cemetery, back over this way. And there's plenty of wildlife around here. There's squirrels, there's ducks, there's crows. You can hear them cawing and everything. But over on this side is the older part of the cemetery. And in the distance you can see how things start to change a little bit by the styles of the tombs and the sizes of the tombs. It's got a sculptural thing. It's in the shadow a little bit, but we'll be able to see it. And I am not sure how to pronounce that name. So let's see, once we get in the shade. There we go. But it's neat. They have a lot of the tombs have a figure like this. It'll be in mourning. And this is getting closer into the old part of the cemetery. And you can see some of the interesting stuff about it. And there's a story about it. But you see how far back it goes that way. That's toward the interstate drive out there. And here, go around, and you'll notice back here the pathway curves over to the side a little bit, and it's like, yeah, so what? But there's a reason why it curves to the side like that. It follows a much older path. There's a lot of things we gotta see right over there. They're not too far away. Here's one of the sculpturals, and that's life-size statue there. Putting the flowers on there. Yeah. Here's a different angle of the figure that's setting the flowers down on the tomb. But This I wanted to show because it's got some pretty stained glass. And this has enough room for eight family members, at least 8. And there's a little shelf you can put little remembrances and things like that. And someone's also put an American flag on here, right on the doors. And you can see how the road, this is toward the back of the cemetery. You see how the road kind of curves around. And continues to curve once it gets way back there. And I see some interesting things right on the other side of that tree. And this is a pretty old tomb here. These two. Back to the early 1900s. Somebody has their own cathedral over here. Looks like it, doesn't it? This one, everyone is in there, not in the back or to the side. There's a lot of different designs and finishes and details that make them unique. And this one's interesting with the cloth draped over the tombstone there. Yeah, I'm kind of getting toward the middle of this part of the cemetery, and now I'll clue you in on the way the roads are done, and I'll show you the little map too. But before there was a cemetery here, there was a racetrack here. It was like a fairgrounds with a racetrack, and so the streets in here are basically follow the lines of the old racetrack, and they curve around. It's a big oval. This is a nice design, and it's interesting they kept that basic idea when they started turning it into a cemetery. But yeah, it's interesting to see. You never know what you're going to get, especially around here. Now this is a big tomb, and kind of hard to see, but over here is where a lot of people are listed. My goodness. That's a lot of people in here. Oh wow. That's pretty hard to see with the reflections, but it's behind glass. These are interesting. Now it's got a big urn on top, covered up with a cloth. I see some really old stuff back in there. I'm gonna take a look. These are getting to some of the bigger, fancier tombs. Plus the new mausoleums that are right next to it. These are a little more traditional tombs with are in the ground, but they have the headstones. Going back to 1916. (1913). You see, they get pretty close together in some areas. Some pretty ornate stuff on that tomb there. It's like a cloak, I think, on top of that coffin. Yeah, the big boulder is for General Fred N. Ogden. That sounds familiar to anybody? This is where he is. Yeah, this is actually for a baby, 1 year and 8 months. But this is interesting too. If you've ever seen one of these and wondered about it, if you didn't read at the top up there, there's a group called Woodmen of the World, and they would do these basically these memorials for members, and it looks like a log. It looks like a log standing up on top of 4 logs on the ground. Look at that. So whenever you see one of those, that's what it is. That's a pretty tomb there. Look at the sculptures on there. It's even got like a garden area like within the fence there. Now we're kind of headed toward the middle part of the cemetery, which would have been the infield of the racetrack. But the tombs get larger and more elaborate in this area, as you can see. This is a monument there. Let's go around the corner here. Yeah, they got some pretty amazing ones in this area. This is very cool. It's not huge, but it's neat, and it's got its own bell up there. And it's got little openings like windows. No stained glass, but it is open. And there's a little altar sort of set there. And if you can see it, it's kind of hard to see. There's a chain for the bell hanging down. I'm not gonna pull that though. It's not my place. Yeah, this is the McCann family tomb here. And I'll pass by this street sign here, because it is on a corner, and you can see inside. Spared no expense. And look at the stained glass in there. I'll get up close so you can see that. Pretty stained glass. And I believe there's 6 places in here, but I'm not sure how many people are actually in here. And And as cemeteries go, this is probably one of the most famous parts of this one. This is where the really big, fancy tombs are. All very different. All cool in their own way. And memorable in their own way. Including the famous pyramid. The Brunswick family. Brunswicks. And it's dark inside. I think you might be able to see inside, but it's pretty dark. There we go. You can't see inside. Let's take a look real quick. It's just dark in there, but the 6 places, I'm not sure how many are in there. But the neighbors got quite a variety of styles too. This has got some stained glass in the back of it. It's a pretty one. And this is the memorial in the middle of that circle here. And actually this is the back of it. And we'll take a look. There's a gate, but I don't think there's too much to see inside. Oh wow, it goes all over the place. There are tombs in here. For veterans. No, the names are worn away pretty much on this plaque. There's ways for light to get in. Right off that circle there. It's got some pretty glass in it. There we go. Really pretty stained glass. And that's the side of that memorial there. And this right here, this little avenue, runs right down the center of what used to be the racetrack. That's the east over there. And you can see along the sides, the backs of those big tombs. See, I'm not sure if this one has some glass in it or not. It does, it does. Oh, it's the same like the other one. Looks like the same design. Same design, different tomb. Lots of family members in there. The Schmidt family. Ooh, this one's open. The gate's open. And it's got some stained glass in there. I'm not going in there because it's not appropriate. But the stained glass is pretty. Most of the ones in this area have the glass. And I don't know if you can tell, but this panel here that covers this tomb is bowing out. It's really bowing out. It's I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. Yeah, you can't really. It's hard to see. You have to kind of be here. but this top one is too. This one is too. They bow out. And that's back where we started, around the corner. Oh, and I'll show you on this the memorial here with the tomb inside, down in the bottom. If you can see those little things sticking up, look almost like little pagodas or something. That's what lets the light in inside that we saw when we looked in there. That's where the light comes from. So that's pretty cool. Neat way to do it. Well, there's a lot of history, and this is Louisiana history and Southern history. Things to remember, things to forget. This is interesting because it's like a big stone with a scroll draped over it. There's some impressive ones right here. It's still in the middle, kind of. Sort of castle-ish, sort of church-ish. Castle church. Cathedral. It's pretty appropriate these days. It's a memorial here, and this is on top of it. It's a unique design. Yeah, this is the eastern end of the racetrack. And see, there's still big tombs. This one's pretty cool. There's some really pretty glass in there, all blue, complete blue design. That's pretty. And this is an interesting part of the cemetery to me because of this tomb right here. It says Williams on it, but it's Egyptian style, which is interesting. But one of the people in there is Harry P. Williams. And if you go back, look in your Wayback Machine and find one of the old episodes, I'll put the number down below. We visited the Wedell Williams, basically Flying Company Museum. That's not the right word. I can't think of the name of it right now. But I'll put it down below. But it's in Morgan City, or actually, it's west of Morgan City in Patterson. And Harry Williams was the Williams of the Wedell Williams Company. And he and his silent movie star wife, Marguerite Clark, if you look up her name, that was his wife. They're interred here. right here in the Metairie Cemetery. And they had a house in New Orleans, a big mansion and everything. And it's a very interesting story. The Williams name is a big name in aviation in the 1920s and 30s. You can see all the detailing, the Egyptian motif detailing on here, on the columns on the front. All the way to the doors. Look at that. That's pretty cool. The Metairie Cemetery is pretty unique in that it was built on the side of a racetrack, and that it also contains so many elaborate, expensive tombs for major families going back. If you ever get a chance to go, it's interesting just to wander around a little bit like I did. And it is free to go in, so it's something to see. So you can tell everybody you went there and looked at that. In the meantime, you know, keep an eye out for future episodes of Looked At. And please remember to subscribe if you haven't done that. And you can do that, you.